Okay, there's no better feeling in the world doing jobs like this than when the bearing comes out nice and clean, like I've just shown. When you tap it through from the other side and it comes out and you've got a whole bearing. I've been doing this a lot of years now, and still, when I go to remove a bearing and the middle bit pops out, which is the centre race, the inner race, and you get all that mush that comes out with it, and it leaves the outer race stuck inside the linkage, whether it be separate linkage like this or in your frame. That's a right pain, because you haven't really got any other option now to get that out but use what's called a blind bearing puller. So obviously I'm going to try and cover all bases in this tutorial, so I'll now show you how to remove the bearing using a blind bearing puller, which is one of these. So it's got what's called an expanding collet that fits inside the bearing, and then when you tighten it up it expands, and then you can either using a sliding hammer pull the bearing out. This particular one, and they do sell these on eBay, and they're not very expensive. You get a few different size collets in there, so probably for about, I don't know, 30 quid, say, for argument's sake. You can get a series of tools like this. So you've got to expand that into the centre race. So get your get a screwdriver or a punch, and you've got to tighten this up. And then when it goes tight, you can feel it tighten up inside there, so it gets a nice good hold. There are ridges inside that outer race that the bearings roll inside of, so if you can get it inside those ridges, when it does start pulling, it's got something to pull against. These are quite good as well, because if you can get one that the bearing that's come out fits through, yeah, you can see it. You can see it when it starts coming out on there. Now, they tend to only collapse when the bike's not being maintained on a regular basis. Now, I would suspect, this being a 2016 bike, I think those bearings that were in there are the original bearings, because rather than rubber seals, they have like a metal seal on, which I know Intense and Santa Cruz tend to like to use these metal sealed bearings. So basically what's happening is, now when I turn this, the collet's pulling upwards against this hollow tube. So as I'm turning this now, this bearing is starting to pull from that housing. You can just see it coming up. Again, no need to use much force. Once you've got a good grip on that with the collet, that will just lift free of the housing. But you'll find, in most instances, if that bearing collapses, leaving that bit stuck in your frame or in a linkage, you've got to use some sort of an expanding arrangement like that to get it out. There's just nothing inside there to get. You just can't get anything to get any purchase onto that to get it out. There's just nothing there. So handy tool. I mean, obviously try with the tools that you've got, but unfortunately if that's the situation, you're going to have to get some of those.